Greetings, my fellow duplicants. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to the very first episode of Oxygen Not Included Badlands, which originally streamed live on Twitch. More information about this series can be found in the description of the video. I just want to show you something, what you're voting on. So when you start a new game, we're going to be on Badlands over here. This is what was voted on. You have world traits, and world traits modify the way the game is played a little bit, and they're random. So I'm going to give you all another minute or two to decide on world traits. So click that link, that Google Forms link, and pick the traits. Now, of course, I can't go exactly as it is voted on because they are random, but I'll roll until I get some of the highest voted traits. And I'll leave this up for one more minute. I have not really played this game in a year, so this is going to be messy, but that's also why I have the stream tags I have on, and also the about. So let's see here. Taking a look at the form results. I wish I could more easily share the form results, but like without doxing myself, it's kind of hard. Oh boy. All right. The votes keep trickling in, but there's 3 clear winners, which is alternate pod location, geodes, and geoactive. That is currently what is winning. Not bad. Alternate pod location is going to be a little sketchy. So let me see if I can't find... I'll leave the poll up so that you all can just sort of influence it continually, but I'm going to start trying to random the things that you have voted on. So I'm trying to get geodes, geoactive, and alternate pod. Come on now. Don't make this a 10-minute roll like I'm trying to get good pawns in RimWorld. So here's geoactive, alternate pod, large and small boulders. I think that probably fulfills all of it. Yeah. So here's our world. If you want to... Don't spoil this for me. Don't load up this seed and then be like, all right, you have a slush volcano there and a gold volcano. Yeah, I don't want to know that. Whoa! ALS Gamer, thank you for all the bits. Actually, a whole lot of you, too. Vanish and Fakeface and Highland and Mikey. Thank you, guys. So this will be our world here. The geoactive, alternate pod, small boulder, large boulder, and I'm going to update my commands right now so that if you type ! details, it actually says that. All right, we're going to obviously have a lot of boulders, so that might be interesting. I don't know how terrible that will be on the biome. And let's get started. So for those that don't know, Oxygen Not Included is like a space colony survival game. And here's the about command. Oxygen Not Included is a space colony simulation game. We're in the Badlands biome, known for very finite amounts of liquid on survival difficulties. It also doesn't really have a lot of gold either. Viewers will be able to vote on the direction of the progress through polling and channel point submissions, but this is a casual stream, and I've not played in about a year, so I have the back seat gaming tag off. This will air on YouTube, and the only mod I use is the temperature display mod. So what I'm going to try to do is to get 3 starting duplicates that I think are going to be ideal. So the first one I want to get is a researcher. A researcher, ideally, that can supply and wear a suit. Come on, research and suit wearing and doctoring with mole hands and loud sleeper. Loud sleeper's a little annoying, but I could deal with it. So Nisbet, you are hired. So suit wearing gives you run speed and a passion about wearing suits, which is good. Doctoring is going to be helpful if we get hurt. And then science with mole hands for better excavation. All right, nails. The next person I want is like a digger builder. So dig, build, doctor, increase medicine, and decrease germ. That's fine. There'll be another good doctor, I guess. And then, last but not least, we have sort of a supplier other. So what I'm going to do is pick, like, supplier operator would be pretty good. And again, suit wearing would be nice for here. So here we go. Bottomless stomach kind of sucks, especially on this biome, so I'm going to nix that one. Supplying tidying and operating with bedside manner. Bedside manner. Mouth breather. No. Shriveled taste buds and no doctor. Well, the other two is a doctor, so I guess this is fine. So supplying, suit wearing, and building. We got it. And then the name of the colony will be just Badlands. All right, let's embark. Well, thank you all for the hype train. So I've awoken at the target location, but the colonization efforts have already hit a hitch. I was supposed to land on the planet's surface, but became trapped many miles underground. Although conditions are not ideal, it is imperative that I establish a colony here and begin mounting efforts to escape. So we have here, let me hit Alt-S. This is what we know of our colony. So we have an alternate pod location. I have no idea where I am in relation to the rest of the map. Except, you know what? I might actually have dev mode. Well, as long as I don't accidentally use any of the dev mode tools, I think it's fine, but I do have dev mode, debug mode on. Let me turn that off just in case that becomes a problem. So that's going to require just a quick reboot, and I apologize. I was trying to refamiliarize myself with the with a lot of the game mechanics and forgot to turn dev mode off. And I would rather not like to spoil the biome for me by hitting the wrong key, because all it takes is for you to hit like backspace and all of a sudden you can see the whole map. At least it's not a crash? Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, yesterday was brutal. For you. For me, it was... I was very tempted to try to encourage your moderators to have channel point predictions about whether you'd crash again or not. Alright, so here we go. Let's turn the overlays on. There they are above my head. Some of them. And the overlays for Yoda. And that means I can now put up the raffle timer. Which is right here. So this raffle timer is to name the first 3. I don't know if I'm really going to be able to give the people that get characters any sort of control over the characters that they have. But at least you'll have your name in the game, I suppose. So before I even start, what I want to do is some priorities. So doctoring, new duplicants will have it on disallowed, but the 2 that are good doctors, high priority doctor. We have a tidier, research, digging, building, supplying, storing. So Otto is going to be kind of the janitor with a little bit of building. And then Nails is going to be the builder digger. And then Nisbet is going to be the researcher digger. So I don't know, it's a pretty good layout, pretty good setup. Taking a look at the supplies I start with. So if you can see here, let me just set up dig zones. Some of these, a lot of these surrounding areas here are hard digging only, right? As you can see, it's going to be hard to leave our initial starting biome because of the granite that we're surrounded by. We had large and small boulders on, so there is some sort of ruin over here. And what I kind of have to figure out is how to feed myself and how to do water. So one of the challenges of Oxygen Not Included is fresh water. And furthermore, on the Badlands biome, there's just not a whole lot of water. There's not a lot of snow biomes. So I'm going to have to be very careful about how I use water and what I do with the water and not to waste it, etc. Not to pollute it. First things first, I would say even before that, would be some sort of toilet system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig down here. I'm going to plan for... I'm also going to dig down here as well. I'm going to plan for there to be... let me see. This might not be a permanent toilet location, but we'll have something like... I'm going to over dig. So some of this is hard dig only, but we're going to level up pretty fast. So, toilets, showers, sinks, which means I need to dig even further that way. That's fine. So I'm going to be somewhat limited on how much room I provide. The other thing I should do is figure out exactly where my layers are going to go. So if I keep this level here and ignore the fact that there's a farm here, I could turn this into a natural park, though. Although it has chlorine that I might not want to leak into the rest of the base. I'm trying to avoid getting too close to the sand and water. Maybe that's not the best place for the toilet, but I can't... Yeah, no, it kind of has to go here, I suppose. So, for now, what I'm going to do is a smaller toilet, and then eventually we'll have a floor here, here. So this could be central storage or something like that. I'm just trying to plan out as I go. So we'll go with that. Am I playing the DLC? No, and everything is in the about commands, so you don't really have to ask me. So it's going to warm me up here that I don't have an oxygen generator built. I'm probably going to rely initially on the oxygen diffuser because the oxygen diffuser does not require water, whereas algae farms require a whole lot of water and create a lot of polluted water. And I don't really want to use very much water. I want to try to limit the amount of water that I use because of the difficulty of the game. The other thing I want to try to do is to focus on morale pretty early on. So if we take a look over in the bedroom or the room overlay, I could try to get a barracks bonus pretty early on, a latrine bonus pretty early on, maybe also a rec room. Really depends on how we are going to structure things. Now, I'm going to be opening it up to all of you to sort of decide on a lot of these factors once I have the very basics for survival, like a bathroom set up. What is considered a backseat? If you have to ask if it's backseating or not, it's probably backseating. It's probably the TLDR. Suggesting that I do X, Y, or Z would be backseating. Basically telling me what to do in any way, shape, or form is backseating. What I will be doing is allowing you to... I'll be polling you all about priorities and about projects, but if it's not on a poll, it's probably backseating. Right, Yoda? Yoda, as you can see, has not moved. He is glued. So that there is the raffle timer bell that just went off. And Viper, thanks for the bits. And Squeaky, thank you for the resub. All right. Hey, Yoda, here's your treat. So, good luck in the poll. So, or the raffle, rather. We've got Kelvin. Oh, congratulations, Kelvin. You are going to be... So, I don't pick favorites. You're going to be Nisbet. You're going to be the first person in the queue. So, the next one would be Nails. Nails is going to... Chemo. Getting a lot named after you. There's a lot of Chemos and Kellians. I can't even... Oh, no, there you go. And then last but not least, Viper. Oh boy. Another Viper. And funny enough, Viper, you're still a janitor. You have not changed occupations. You've changed games, but not occupations. So you went from cleaning the snow to cleaning the yellow liquid. So my deepest apologies to you. So I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to poll you right now about once I get like the basic toilet set up, because without a toilet, it's going to be kind of a problem. Once we get a basic toilet up, what is our next project after a toilet? Barracks. Let's see, what are my options? Research. Nature reserve. Or water filtration. Or viewer suggestions. Maybe you guys know better. This is the only way to backseat me, so there you are. Now, obviously, a lot of this stuff is going to be locked over, I guess, that way. Locked behind a lot of research, but I figured I'd ask. So one of the things that I could do now, although it hurts a little bit with the metal it requires, is to stick in a little door here so that this can become a proper latrine so we can have the morale bonus. So I have dash of salt vines and nosh sprouts. This is ethanol, not water, so that's good to know. It's fuel. There is some polluted water here. So I really only have these two things of water, which I would say, unless I find more water, that's going to last me, I don't know, like 75 cycles at most. Something like that. Maybe a little bit longer. It really depends on the amount of farming that we do and the amount of research that we do. But it's not a whole lot of water, so that's a little tricky. But I like it. It's also very barely breathable down here because all of the oxalite is up here. And they're just holding the breath down there. So that's a bit of a problem. One that I will fix. We can set up an oxygen diffuser, but the problem is I don't really have a source of power just yet. So if I set up like a manual generator, we could get a source of power, but I haven't built that either. So down here, we are going to do an outhouse, maybe 2 outhouses for now. And then to medicine, we want 2 wash basins. Basically, I don't want to be in a situation where I'm not washing my hands, because if you don't wash your hands, it is gross. As far as water goes, I think what I'm going to do is to treat this as my water supply and not this. I like water not to be below especially not below ladders, because if you ever have a spill, it goes straight into your water supply and then it's polluted. Which means that the next project is to cut across here and stick up a water pump so that we can put water in the wash basins. Which means a pitcher pump here. And then a ladder down. And then probably digging away a little bit of this so that the water level drops, so we don't have to get soaked feet every time we pump some water. But I'm sure the water level is going to go down, especially when we start researching and the like. Callie, thank you for the resub as well. And B-Baller. Viper with bits. Elon Lacrosse with bits. AZD with the resub. John Banshee with resub. My goodness, a whole lot of love for some Oni. Alright, so here we go. I'm going to put this outhouse, both of these outhouses as 9s. I like to have 2 outhouses just in case one of them is clogged or needs maintenance or something like that nobody has accidents. 2 is safer than 1. We're digging up a fair bit of muckroot, which is good. That will keep us fed before I figure out how we're going to feed ourselves permanently. Taking a look at the gases up here. Materials overlay, gas. So let's take a quick look. We have chlorine, obviously. Hydrogen to the west or left. Chlorine pockets kind of everywhere. Carbon dioxide, chlorine, carbon dioxide. So, yeah. Not a lot of oxygen included is, I guess, what I'm getting at. You guys have 1 more minute to vote on my next project. Looks like Barracks is winning. So if we take a look at furniture, that would be cots. Like that. And I'd probably put them there for now. This is not a permanent spot, but a temporary one. And we are just about done. Let's make these wash basins. Only wash your hands when you're traveling left to right rather than right to left, because I don't really care if you have dirty hands going to the bathroom. You just need to have clean hands coming out. Next project that's high priority is over here, this pitcher pump. Because without water in the wash basins, it doesn't matter that we have it queued up that we wash our hands, we won't be washing. You're so used to the pole being on the right side. The problem is I had to move around a lot of the UI here, as you can probably see, because of the diagnostics and resources overlay here that I can't move. So pretty much every game I play, I have to move around the UI a little bit, but because this resources tree grows all the way down, I didn't want to put my pole overlay. So it looks like Barracks is the next project. So work on building a basic barracks. Oh, good. Leaky, leaky. Let's try to get that not to leak. It's fine. We'll mop it up. So one of the things that we could do is you could put a bottler here and mop up the water that leaked and stick it back into the holding. There we go. And then one of the advantages of having a tile here is, yes, it will increase the amount of time it takes to travel to the pitcher pump, but then any leaks anywhere don't go over there unless it's over 1,000 kilograms of liquid, which, given that we're in Badlands and there's a lack of liquid as a part of the challenge, it's not likely to be an issue. And then it says too much liquid here, but that's fine, because I'll just dig and it will spread out, and no problem. So these sinks now have water delivered. I'm probably going to want to get to proper plumbing as quick as I can, because one of the advantages of proper plumbing is that you recycle water a lot better, and that way, you know, you're not wasteful. What is the mole-looking thing? Which mole-looking thing? This thing? The Dreco? Yeah, this is starting to be a CO2 pit, but, you know, things can be fixed. Chemo's like, I'm hungry and sopping wet. I hate this. I know, man. I know. Alright, so now it's downtime. We did manage to rush the outhouse. We have 30 visits left in there. We don't have any compost or anything like that, so we're going to need to resolve that before. But the next project will be the barracks, so I will start to mine up the area for the barracks here. And welcome, newcomers. I appreciate you being here. So in terms of food, we have a few mealwood growing, some buried muckroot. Of course, there's always buried objects. Whatever's in here. Oh, good, it's slime lung too. Barely any slime lung, but still, there's technically slime lung in this spot. That's lovely. You'd think, given that we were in the Badlands with like almost no liquid and no slime, that there wouldn't be slime lung, but I'd be wrong. So another thing that I'm going to need to consider is Kellyanne sleeps really loud, so I'm not going to have I'm going to have two different barracks, in other words. She can't sleep with others because she's sleeps like a buffalo. So let's go ahead and fix that. I think what I'll do is I'll just give her her own little... It won't be a bedroom, because one of the requirements for the bedroom is that you have to have a comfy bed, and she won't have a comfy bed, but I'll have her own separate barracks that means that she doesn't wake up others to give them terrible sleep. So 2 barracks. And all of these barracks are temporary locations to be moved at some point. And yes, she will be in her own CO2 pit, but I don't think that's going to be a problem very long, because what I will do is I will get I'll get generators up. So the water level is below. Cool. Yep. Slime lung, I wouldn't say is like terrible. It's just annoying. It's not the Black Plague or anything like that. So I think what I'll do is I'm just going to make a totally min-maxed cot setup here, so that I don't spend a lot of time setting up a barracks that I'm not planning on keeping very long. So really just this. And then I can put storage or something here. And I guess what I'll do is I'm going to poll you all about the next project. So we could do research, a nature reserve, water filtration. Well, water filtration is kind of... Let me think. I'm going to pause just a second. So what we could do... So we already have a latrine, right? For morale +1. The barracks is going to be a morale +1 as well. I don't have the research for mess room or Grey Hall. I don't have the research for... I guess I technically have the research for, like, a hospital. So I could put that in. Nature Reserve and Park. I can start to work to set that up, where that's going to go. And viewer suggestions. Syndra and Joey, thank you for the resubs. And Cowley as well. If I missed you. Did I miss you, Cowley? I don't think I did. Well, you get it twice. So I'm going to put a manual generator here with a battery. Actually, let me nudge it over a little bit. Battery. Manual gen. And then we will have an oxygen diffuser as well. Yeah, I'm just going to make it super simple. That way we're starting to produce oxygen. Over here in the diagnostics, it's going to start to tell me about breathability, I think. Maybe. Yeah, here, breathability, it's only 63%, so it's warning me that I need to work on, like, you know, breathing. Or else I die. But here comes the barracks. Hey, Emily. Thanks for the resub. Cheers. So that's slime-lunged. This is all chlorine with a vacillator down there. But I can't currently dig through the granite, so that might as well be miles away until we have more skill points. There's a lot of rust in the Badlands. So rust, if you're wondering, can produce oxygen. That might be one of the methods that we produce oxygen instead of using water, because water is kind of precious. Going up is going to be rather difficult because this all seems like granite as far as I can see. These are all the giant boulders. How about I clean up the slime lung? You could stick in a oxygen filter in there. Slime lung does not survive in clean oxygen. It only survives in polluted oxygen. So in the research tree, there's a way to set up a like an air filter, and you would just air filter and wait. Or alternatively, you could. That's probably the easiest way to do it. There's a lot of ways. There's a lot of ways in oxygen not included to solve a problem, but I'm just going to spat out what's the most obvious and easiest one. So let's increase the priority for these cots up to 7. And also these walls to 7, so we actually get the barracks bonus by the end of the work cycle, which is in seconds. So this is Vipers. And then this down here will be Kellians. The oxygen diffuser is now pumping oxygen, so soon this won't be a CO2 pit, and she will be able to breathe more freely. Done. Colony achievement. Bed and bath. At least have one toilet in the colony and a bed for every duplicate. Ta-da! So who is idle? Viper is idle? Viper. Let's figure out something you can do. I will have you dig up. This is a lot of copper, so I want to utilize this copper as best as I can. You're loving the Wendigo series? You watch it on TV and then go to bed? I appreciate it. That's awesome. I really loved playing this series, so if it works for you, it works for me. Alright, looks like research is going to be next. So the next question is, what do I research first? So I'm going to be asking that in just a second. So in order to get research, we'll get a research station. I'm just going to put this right here, because it's close, and I don't need to run wires very far. And once I get the research station, I'll open up the options, because I can't see the research tree. I mean, I kind of have it memorized, but... I guess what I could do is the research for a great hall, research for a washroom, research for recreation, research for water, filtration, or research for other. Viewers suggest. There. What are we going to push for first? So it's right over there. It's on the other side of the screen. And here is... There's basic farming. Farming's a little tough to do in this biome because there's just not a lot of water to go around. So that might not always be the best option. At least not yet. Power. But I'm leaving power out of this for now because there's things that are more important. Employment, which is really just for the water cooler for a great hall. Pharmacology, and I don't need to worry about that because no one's hurt, no one's sick. Plumbing, which would be water filtration and washroom stuff. The gases, so you were wondering how to clean polluted oxygen, it would be the deodorizer. The last time I played, this doesn't require power, but now it does, which makes it a lot more difficult to use and abuse. Or interior decoration would just spice things up and make it nicer. Yeah, so these are, these options are sort of, you don't really know the game to figure out what's up. Makes it a little bit easier. Man, these boulders, where am I? I mean, obviously I'm like in a random spot because of my starting, but, I wonder how far down or up I am. I feel like, I know this is completely arbitrary because I have no data, but I feel like I'm left of center, but I don't know how far up and down I am. And that is going off of zero information. I have no reason to believe I'm left of center. None whatsoever. Can you keep digging up forever? No. Up is space and down is the bottom of the map. You are in a very finite You're basically living in like a complex weird meteor, asteroid. Because meteor implies that you've like landed somewhere. So it looks like water filtration is going to win. You can always change your mind, but I'm going to start water filtration here. So water filtration, what we're going to want is at least basic plumbing. And then gas and water filters. But if we're trying to filter water, we're also going to want to tap in to chlorine, which means bleach stone. So we will be trying... I think what we'll probably end up doing, unless you guys vote against it, is to set up proper water filtration from polluted water to clean water. Also degerming it before we even bother with a washroom that requires that. So it's like, if you're wondering what chicken and the egg is, we'll do the chicken first and then the egg. But you have 2 more minutes to vote on that anyway. So here is Kelvin trying to unlock that stuff. The other thing I might want to do is to start to set up some storage. So this is probably not an ideal spot for it, but I can always move it. I'm going to start to put storage bins up here. The reason being is if you take a look at the decor, being around debris and junk is very saddening. And I want to try to keep them as happy as possible. So tidying up is going to be pretty useful, I think. And if we take a look at the germs here, Viper, for instance, just went to the bathroom. He's very germy. And then the wash basin requires him to wash his hands. And then having 2 wash basins means that if one's being used, the other's free. Oh, hey, it's a hatch. I'm not going to kill the hatch just yet. Hatches are little animals that like to eat sand, coal, stone, that kind of thing. And they poop out coal, which you can burn for power. Kelvin is still, unfortunately, holding her breath. So one of the things I could do for Kelvin is to... Alright, this is sand. Is to dig down as far as I can and sort of excavate down here so that the carbon dioxide accumulates at the bottom of the map so that it isn't affecting her breathing. Because right now she has to get out of bed to not suffocate, to take breaths, and then to go back to bed. Eventually we will introduce some sort of carbon filtration. But for now what I can do is I can just pile up that carbon down here and just store it. Which is cheap, easy, and lazy. But is how we're gonna do it. Alright, let's set the manual generator up to 6. And the research up to 6. So that they get used more often. And you guys want me to research for water filtration. So, that sounds good. Research for water filtration. What is the Badlands about? The Badlands is about a biome with very little liquid and no gold amalgam, more or less. You can look at the wiki if you want for more information, but that's basically all the information you're going to get anyway. Alright, breathability is at 50%. There's a lot of untapped oxalate here, so I'm not that worried. I have to kind of figure out how I want to clear out this chlorine, though. Yeah, no swamps, not a lot of liquid. So there's liquid ethanol. I guess there's more liquid water over here, which is good to know. It's going to be a little bit tricky to get there without going through some muck. You need to zoom in to read? Yeah, because of how much overlay there is, I really don't have enough real estate to even increase the UI size. The UI size is already blown up. I know it doesn't seem like it, but it's already greater than 100%. So for water filtration, let's talk about this. There's a few different things I'm going to want. So obviously I need liquid pumps, because without liquid pumps, that's the very basis of water filtration. Then we're whoops. We're going to also want to get improved plumbing, because I'm going to need liquid shutoffs and water reservoir. For water filtration, I'm also going to require a water sieve. But these things require advanced research, so I'm going to need to pivot and get advanced research up here in order to unlock what I need. And then on top of that, we're also going to want some ventilation as well, because I'm going to need to move around chlorine. So there's a lot involved in water filtration that's going to take a while. But we'll do it right. Alright, so we're starting to sequester our... we're starting to sequester our carbon dioxide down here. Another way I could do this is to stick in a pneumatic door over here and then dig... Well, I can't dig there, so that's not really going to help. So maybe I won't do that. Yeah, man! Thank you for the resub. Way to spend your day? Well, I appreciate you being here. So let's go ahead and put this as a super high priority. The reason being is when there's not floor beneath the wash basins or toilets, they're out of order. And out of order sinks mean that the base starts to get germy. So right now the base has no germs, and I'm trying to keep it that way. It's easier to keep it germy than to try to sanitize it. And then the purpose of this tile here is so that we can move faster. Uh-oh, 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 uh-oh. Move! Why are you idle? Oh, you're not idle. You're just standing there. What are you doing? Yeah, the fertilizer's starting to leak. So I'm going to plug that up so it doesn't go everywhere. There we go. Now it's not going to leak anymore. I failed to notice the fertilizer. So it'd be good if we started to get some bins. There's also, you know what, I don't want to go any higher because this is a lot of dense carbon dioxide, and that's going to cause some problems once I untap that. Alright, it's going to complain that I don't have a food source, but I'm not really worried about a food source just yet. It is now almost breathable at Kellyan's bedroom. Almost. Getting close. I could just excavate it here to increase the volume. And yeah, I mean, that will work. Pretty makeshift option. But alright, we're finally getting some storage bins here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put everything in the storage bin, because currently we haven't discovered anything that shouldn't go into storage bins, like rotted food or anything like that. But eventually I'm going to have to revisit what we're allowed to put in here, so that I don't harm the colony, because the storage bins will allow you to put things like nearly molten rock, which would superheat up your colony and cause a lot of problems, or put in like spoiling food, which would be a problem as well. So we're going to want to try to avoid that. Okay. Now, the manual generator, I think because nobody is set to operate, because we don't have any good operators. Let's see. Are we going to get a good operator? So, pufflet eggs, but I don't believe, hold on, I don't believe anyone that I currently have has cooking skills. No one has cooking skills, so we really can't make any omelets anyway. I'll just explain really quickly. The eggs that you can get in here, you can, where's food? Food is up here. You can crack the eggs and cook them on the electric grill for food, but I don't really have anyone that is proficient cook or anything like that. Plus, I don't have the research, so that doesn't really make any sense. We could also print up fertilizer. There is Ruby, who's germ-resistant, stylish, caregiver, but is a farming decorator. And then a building tidier. I don't really need either of these guys, and the bottomless stomach is pretty terrible. If I was going to pick a dupe, it would probably be Ruby, but a farming decorator is just not particularly useful skills, so I'm just going to go with the fertilizer for now. I'm going to be very choosy about the dupes I print, because trying to provide food on Badlands is very difficult, so the dupes that I add need to be very productive. Or else we'll starve. This will turn into a different Klee game. It'll turn into Don't Starve Together very fast. Alright, so one thing that I could do to try to make the research room a little bit nicer is to floor that up and then tidy it up. Yeah, heat probably won't be any more of an issue in this biome than in other biomes, because this biome isn't particularly hot. Now, if you type details, you'll see that we do have Geoactive, so it's possible that the Geoactive geysers, the extra Geoactive geysers, introduce some heat into the map that is harder to mitigate. So it's possible that it's a little bit warmer than a default world. And then it's also possible because we have the random pod location that we're closer to the magma than we normally would be, so that could also be dangerous. But if you take a look at the temperature here, we have two cold biomes just to our south, so it's not like it's going to get too cold below us. East and west is warmer, though. Alright, it is still unbreathable there. Maybe if I make even more pits. And I'm going to do a low priority tidy up. Trying to just make it a little bit nicer. Heat is always an issue? Yeah, it is. It isn't until you have a lot of tech to counteract it. I would also like to start exploration tunnels, but we're pretty pinned in by granite on all sides. And abyssalite. Granite, granite. Is there a way to see rock hardness? Okay. Yeah. I can't leave. There's a tiny sliver of igneous here that I could get out through, but like, it's not tall enough for a dupe to fit through. Same here, but it terminates into abyssalite. I could nope, that terminates to abyssalite. Nope, I can't leave until I get hard digging 1, at the very least. So we're stuck in here. Good. Cheers. That's okay. The starting home biome is the safest anyway, so I ain't gotten anywhere to go. So Kellyan's actually sleeping throughout the night without, you know, suffocating, which is big. Our breathability went from 50-something to 80%. Of course, that relies upon us feeding it algae, which is not great, but, you know, something. And now we're just doing a bit of tidying up. One of the things that I could do is to... Let's see, what is the current research working on? We're just about done with liquid plumbing. Got it. And now we are tidying up. So, plumbing is done, and what that unlocks is liquid pipes, liquid bridges. Liquid bridges allow you to, like, cross pipes like that without the liquids combining. Liquid pumps, which allows you to pump liquid with power and move it around, and then liquid vents, which dumps liquid. So I could hypothetically put a pump in here and then dump the water here once this gets low, which is probably something I'm going to end up doing eventually. And now we are currently researching filtration. I think I'm actually going to pivot and go for employment and advanced research, because that's going to benefit me sooner than filtration. What do I need to break granite? I need to skill up a little bit. So the way the game works is when you do enough work, you level up doing that work, and you're able to pick a skill. So if you take a look at who's my digger, it would be Chemo, I think is the digger. Yeah. So if you take a look at Chemo here, Chemo would have to gain skills, and here's the experience to gain next skill point to unlock hard digging. And there's 3 tiers of digging, 3 tiers of construction, demolition. There is different tiers of basically everything. The more skills that you unlock, the more morale that the duplicant will require. So, continually adding skills to your duplicants that the duplicants don't use on a daily basis isn't necessarily a good idea, because it could make them unhappy. And when they become unhappy, they have a stress response, which is determined here. So, Chemo is an ugly crier, Viper is a vomiter, and Kellyan is destructive. And if they become too stressed where I'm not managing the morale, they will ugly cry, they will vomit, and they will break things. So it's something to avoid. If possible. Alright, I'm not going to add any more tasks here. I'm just going to play it on quicker speed so that they can start tidying up. Tidying up is not necessarily required, per se, but it is desired. So, putting everything away in boxes will prevent it from being ugly and also reacting with other things. So another thing that could happen, I'll just give you a for instance, is water or polluted water, for instance, that is not put into some sort of container will then outgas polluted oxygen and become a problem in its own right. So, you know, it's always a good idea to sort of make sure that you have your resources managed well, or they could be destroyed. Because also, any of the items that lay on the ground, if they interact with something like magma, they are going to get destroyed. So, yep. Some stress reactions are definitely worse than others, yes. Like destructive is a particularly bad one. Scraps, thanks for the follow. And, number one, I think I missed the dog treat, so there you go. I apologize for that. Yeah, we're at 100% breathability, which isn't exactly true. Of course, we have layers of carbon dioxide, but that does require a lot of algae pumping out oxygen. And what will eventually happen here is the oxygen that we have is at max pressure, which is about 1,800 grams per square or cubic meter, or I don't know, square meter, because I guess it's a 2D world. And what's going to happen is that this carbon dioxide is going to slowly pressurize as we breathe it in and out breathe carbon dioxide, to the point where, like, we'll need to do something with this carbon dioxide. We will need to filter it somehow. So you could do a carbon skimmer, which is a research... where is it? Man, it's been a while. Well, wherever it is. Why am I missing carbon skimmer? But yeah, you can use water to sequester carbon dioxide and reconvert it down, or, you know, something like that. Just plant a tree down there? Oh, yes. Trees, so there are plants that will help convert carbon dioxide into oxygen, but they don't work very fast. So now we have a water cooler. I guess a question for you all is, should I build a mess hall? Great hall. Because I know it's not exactly working on filtration, but right now we're just cleaning things up. And if you do vote yes on a mess hall, great hall, I'm going to have to decide exactly where it goes, etc. Thank you for tuning in to Oxygen Not Included Badlands, which originally streamed live on Twitch, February 17th. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. But please keep in mind that this is a casual series and I haven't played in quite some time. This series is a result of a weekly poll, which determines what I play. So if there's to be more Oxygen Not Included, you'll have to win in the polls. If you'd like to vote, the best way to do so is to join Discord and sign up for the notifications. Thank you so very much for watching. A special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel. I'll catch you next episode, or perhaps an upcoming stream. Stay safe out there, duplicants.